Welcome, Nader. Tell us a little about yourself and how you got here. What NGD Systems is all about?
Great. Well, thank you for having me here. So I've been in the high-tech industry for many, many years, even more than 30 years. In the last 16, 18 years, I've been in the storage, and specifically solid-state drive business. So I started the solid-state drive business in 2003 for a company in Southern California that turned out to be a very successful story for over 7-8 years, and then I joined Western Digital to do enterprise class solid-state drive, and then in 2013 there was an opportunity to start NGD to work on a new set of problem that the large companies that have a large amount of data, they were looking for new solution that didn't exist, and that's how we started the company. And fundamentally, that's a new generation of solid-state drives, PCIe and NVMe. But other than storing large amount of data in a small form factor and energy efficient, the next level of challenge for all of these users are what to do, how to make sense out of the data. So we brought that capability of compute capability inside of the storage device, so you can make sense out of your data, run analytics, AI, machine learning, all inside the storage device without moving the data outside. So that brings new capability, especially in the new edge, with the edge of the network, because either you are collecting a lot of data from the IoT at the edge that you just don't have the bandwidth to send it to the cloud, or you have a large amount of data or video that you need to serve the end users that is just not enough bandwidth again to bring from the cloud. So our solution fits into all of these new categories of the edge.
A lot of interesting advances. That brings me to the question, are founders of companies wired differently? I mean, why did you want to start something like this?
So it's part of it is the passion and I don't know, maybe it's being sick. You look for the excitement in a different way, and finding opportunity in the marketplace that you can come up with a solution for it is just exciting, and that's how we get excitement.
And what brought you into the edge market in particular?
So when the customers were telling us what was their pain points, and our solution could solve those pain points, we saw that the edge market still is emerging. It is new, and it has many, many different definitions to different people. So we are seeing two sets of areas. One is the little devices that collects a lot of data from IoT sensors. That's one category of edge. We also see edge gateways that is serving thousands of subscribers. Both of these have a pain point for moving data, and that's what we are addressing. We are also seeing another category that, like autonomous cars, is another variations of the edge, that it collects a lot of data, tens of terabytes a day, which obviously cannot transfer, but it needs to have it needs to make sense out of it, and our solution also addresses that.
And in terms of, you talk about the market focus, the size of the particular market you're going after, it's got to be growing, it is be expanding.
Growing. As far as we can tell, it is really early days. Instead of market size is the number of units, it is in the orders of millions of units, and it won't obviously happen within a 1 year time period, but certainly in the next 5 years it is going to be growing to tens of millions of units.
And as that all unfolds, would you say, are you educating a market, or are you having to educate end users, or are you sort of arriving just
No.
at the right time?
We are educating. We are educating the market. We are educating our potential customers as what are the possibilities they can do with the platform we are providing. So it's sometimes I wish it was more mature that we didn't need to educate, but the fact is it is way too early, and but at the same time that brings the opportunity.
Absolutely. And what are you most excited about in your business these days?
Oh, being in forefront of the something new is very exciting. It does have its own challenges, but we see that. I see that as a really exciting for the myself and entire team to provide something that, and you're educating the customer what are all the different use cases they can run, and that's quite interesting and exciting.
Absolutely. And I see the future of your business, and this may be a difficult. What do you see as the future of the edge industry?
So, the perhaps if I can go one layer below it is the future of the computational storage. So what we are providing is called computational storage. We see the future of that in the next 5 years. It becomes either client consumer grade storage devices or intelligent storage devices that has this compute capability inside it. And almost all the enterprises going to be transitioning and will be using this computational storage because it just doesn't make sense to move the large amount of data to do anything.
No.
So it becomes like a old-fashioned maybe USB stick versus what we use inside of the servers.
And what about the vision for your business for NGD?
So we believe today we have a 2-year lead over anybody moving into this space with the total solution being integrated into a single chip with all the software and firmware stacked together. We provide it as a complete solution to the customer. We believe we're going to continue this lead that we have as much as possible. At the same time, we like it that the other people are moving into this space. That actually is a validation that the market is growing.
And that must, I mean, the question is what drives you to keep moving towards that vision, but by virtue of a market that you're seeing evolving, that must be...
So one is the size of the market. So each of these, that the vertical that I just explained, that the content delivery, the edge of the network with the collection of the data node, these are all high volume. Then on top of it is the distributed data centers that are coming, that the hybrid data center, again, that also it's another category or vertical for us. These makes it interesting and plenty of market for everybody to participate.
Absolutely. And the next question, where do you see your business in the next 5 years? I know that's a difficult...
For a startup, 5 years is a very long term, but within 2 to 3 years, we see the volume is going to grow, and our revenue is going to be substantial revenue that we would pass our break-even points.
What do you think is just a fad right now? Anyone doing should maybe stop doing?
Well, it's possible, but for certain category, it might be possible. There is a lot of maybe gaming, even though gaming, it has its own word that is very attractive. For the things that are just nice to have is one thing. For the businesses that they must have, we see those is not a fad, and it's going to continue to become more and more serious for the service provider to have these type of devices in their data centers or in their cloud or distributed cloud, I should say.
And some of those must be on your bucket list. So what are the top 3 things on your bucket list or your vision right now?
So continue to educating the industry and wishing the industry adoption to go faster. And that's one of the reasons we are in this edge compute area to motivate that education getting out there. So that certainly is one of the areas.
Very good. I'm going to shift over to challenges.
Yep.
What has been the greatest challenge you've faced in your business today?
So for any startup, obviously raising capital continues to be a challenge. So we have had some success that we were able to raise capital to do what we needed to do and deliver it. The next set of the challenges is the adoption of the technology into the mass volume. So
And literally, that would be probably your biggest challenge.
that's
in
the biggest challenge. And the time. I mean, it will get adopted. It is being adopted, but be it adopted over a period of 1 year versus 5 years, it makes a huge difference for a startup. And of course, we are hoping to be a shorter one.
When you meet with unexpected challenges, how do you typically handle them?
So, very good question. So, my personal experience is there is always different way of doing something. So, I have to continue to look for alternatives to accomplish the same thing. So, sometimes it's not a straight line. So we go around the corner, around the circle to find that, whatever it takes. So one thing we have in the company, in any of us, because we are small, we do whatever it takes and we live it.
Communication must be key. I mean, you talk.
Oh, absolutely. We have a very open policy in the company. We are very close to each other from all aspects, from the engineering, sales, marketing. We live in an open office environment. Nobody has an office. We have office to go for a meeting, but everybody is outside, and everybody knows each other's pain. And as a result, it becomes a bigger family that we are working together to solve the problem, whatever it might be, on a daily basis.
And that was important for you to have an open office concept right from the get-go, I would think.
Absolutely. And that's probably one of the best things I've done to myself.
So lessons learned. And if you could go back in time, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
To look for the market opportunities constantly. And because it's difficult to have it ready and just come in. You have to continuously look for market opportunities and sense when is the right time to engage and we move it forward. That's probably my biggest feedback.
And, because that's really not what you're thinking of maybe at 20, is it?
Absolutely. Correct. At the beginning of the career, that's not what you're looking for. That's probably one of the biggest excitement that I saw when I saw the opportunity, and not only on this one, even on the previous one when I started solid state drive business for somebody else, it was exactly the same scenario.
And with your level of experience, what advice would you give someone entering this segment, be it the SSD or edge in general?
Be flexible and learn. Continuous learning. If we don't learn, we become obsolete. And that's the part that we have an advantage as a human, that we can learn. And especially in the technical world, the moment we stop learning, that's the time that's sort of is on the end of our career.
Nader, what was the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Well, it's a combination of them, depending on the different phases of my career or my company. I've had the advice to go after your passion. I've had the advice that if we are a startup, we have raised money, it's only one thing matters: don't run out of money. So both of them are pretty good.
Yeah, that's fantastic. The next section is a bit of fun, just about you personally, and we have 5-6 minutes, so it's great. Let's get at it. If you weren't doing what you do for work now, what would you be doing instead?
I probably go and find another startup and volunteer my time for them if they find it useful. So
Would it be in technology, or is there any?
no, it could be outside of technology. Is obviously in the technology there are many complications that, especially when you take the technical challenges and overlay it with the business challenges, it becomes a harder problem to solve. So the mind is busier that way. But even the non-technology, there are many challenges to be solved on the businesses. And as we evolve as a human being, we require different way of using things, and that brings opportunities.
What book are you currently reading, and what books would you recommend to our audience?
So there's a book that I'm reading and that I've read it before, but every some period of time I read it, is Emotional Intelligence, and I find it fascinating for myself. I use it a lot to communicate with my team and find out what are the pain points for them without talking, because the body language also it says a lot. And even with the customer, if the more you're involved with the inside their head, as what are the pain points, what are the day-to-day challenges they need to face, it helps us to provide a better solution in a shorter period of time.
And you're the second founder that has said, I reread a book.
Yeah.
Because you would gain further knowledge.
So one of the thing is, as all of us as a human, as we master a topic, we can talk about it more and more. And the more we talk about it, we find out there are areas that we can improve on. So by rereading it or going back, we are reinforcing some of those behavior inside of ourselves.
Are you a morning or night person?
Mostly night. I don't know, because of the portion of time after work, a lot of one-on-one with some of the key executives. We have to have it after work, so it becomes evening.
If you had to pick one word to describe yourself, what would it be and why?
I would say probably being flexible and being able to make all type of personalities sing together, and that's probably it.
Very good. A couple of wrap-ups. What's keeping you up at night these days?
Probably how long would it take for the technology to be adapted, and that's a function of obviously the financial. How do we gear up to meet that requirement?
And finally, what's your favorite place in the world?
Believe it or not, Southern California, I believe, is the best place to be.
And I agree. And finally, where can our listeners find you online?
So, NGDsystems.com. We have many webinars, and all of our background are there, as well as LinkedIn. So.
Well, thank you very, very much. I've enjoyed this.
Great. Thank you very much.